The Meaning of Maggie by Jean Sovern. Prologue. Beep, beep, beep. My dad won't stop beeping. And it's impossible to concentrate while my dad is beeping. He's been beeping for almost a whole day now. And it's not the friendly beep of the ice cream truck backing up after you chased it halfway down the block either. It's a slow beep that makes me really sleepy. But it's impossible to sleep because the chair in his hospital room is harder than the hardest substance on earth, which I know is diamond because it was on my science final 2 months ago, which I got 100 on, but whatever. It's just dad and me in the hospital room right now. My sisters and my mom are downstairs in the cafeteria. Mom put me in charge of dad until she gets back, which makes sense because I'm way more responsible than my sisters, even though they're in high school and I'm in middle school. But, hot girls take longer to mature. And since I'm so responsible, I know that I'm not supposed to push or touch anything, even if it looks like it'd be really fun to push or touch. And I'm keeping an extra close eye on Dad. He just fell back asleep. But I'm kind of hoping he'll wake up soon so we can split this little Debbie. Normally, I'd just eat the whole thing myself, but I figured he could use a little pick-me-up. I'm not worried. Dad is going to be okay. Even Mom said so. And even though she works full-time and takes care of Dad full-time and fixes dinner full-time and raises the three of us to be ladies full-time, she's always right full-time too. She's a very busy lady, but even at her busiest, she's still at her best. Like yesterday, she remembered to bring my birthday present to the hospital, even though she shouldn't have, because big deal things were happening. But of course she remembered. And of course it was the most perfect gift ever. She gave me the most beautiful leather-bound journal, and I have to use it to write something really important. And I've decided that important thing will be my memoir. If you don't know, a memoir is a piece of autobiographical writing that examines the meaning of the author's life during a specific moment in time. I'm writing about my 11th year on this earth because it was the most important year of my whole life. Because last year was the year that changed everything. It was one of those years when you learn about in history class and the teacher says, "This was a year that changed everything." And you roll your eyes and think, "Yeah, right. You said that last chapter." But by the time you reach the end of the chapter, you realize you've highlighted every single word because every single word was really important. That's how last year felt for me. Like the entire thing was highlighted. And that's why I'm writing this memoir. Because just like any other future president of the United States of America, I have a story worth telling. So maybe I didn't cut down a cherry tree, and maybe I don't have wooden teeth, and I wasn't born in a log cabin with a dirt floor and 9,000 brothers and sisters. I still have something to say, and that's why I'm writing this for prosperity or posterity or propensity, all of which I will look up once we get home. And well, I'm writing this because when visiting hours are over, I'll be back in the waiting room with nothing to do but stare at the vending machine full of M&Ms that Mom says I've had enough of. Mom would want me to start this whole thing by being brave and pulling up my bootstraps. Whenever big deal, I'm going to pause for a second. Do you see this at the bottom where it says 1? This is a footnote. So if we go back to where the 1 is and we reread that sentence, and that's why I'm writing this for posterity, propensity, all of which I will look up once I get home. A footnote is where the author can leave you a note. And the note down here says, if we ever get home. All right, so make sure when you see a little exponent that you check the footnote. Mom would want me to start this whole thing by being brave and pulling up my bootstraps. Whenever big deal stuff happens in our family, and a lot of big deal things happen. Mom tells us to pull up our bootstraps, even though we live in Georgia and most of the time it's too hot to wear boots. But pulling up your shoelaces just sounds weird. So I'm going to do just that. And it turns out I'm more prepared to write this memoir than I ever realized. I've been doing research pretty much all year without even knowing it. There were all these times I hid behind the couch while my sister Tiffany got in trouble, and all the times I listened in on my other sister Layla's phone calls, and all of the glasses I put up to my parents' door to decode their secret mumbles. I wouldn't need the glass at all, but my ears aren't top notch. I blame it all on the loud rock and roll music my parents listened to while I was both in and outside of the womb. Up until last year, Dad worked and Mom did mom things, and my sisters did big sister things like totally ignore me. But then Dad's legs fell all the way asleep. His legs had been in and out of sleep for a few years. Sometimes they would wake up and he would walk with a cane, but his cane had been in the closet for a while now, and I don't think it's coming out. It's like his legs are in the deepest sleep ever. It's like they've been hypnotized by David Copperfield. Footnote, the magician, not the Dickens character. And no amount of snapping or clapping will wake them up. And now, on top of sleeping legs, he's also really sick. And that's why we're here with the beeping. The unfriendly, non-ice cream truck, really scary beeping. I'm feeling about a million things at this moment. And I guess the only thing I'm not feeling now is hungry, because I just ate the entire Little Debbie, even though I double swore to myself that I'd wait until Dad woke up to share it. But I couldn't help it. I'm tired. I slept on the floor last night in a hospital waiting room next to my sister, who kicked the Dickens out of me with her perfect legs all night long. And not getting my usual full 8 hours of REM, rapid eye movement, sleep hasn't helped my exhaustion, both physical and emotional. Physical exhaustion because of the floor. I feel like I pulled an all-nighter at the factory, like David Copperfield, the Dickens character, not the magician. And emotional exhaustion because it's so hard and weird to see Dad so sick. Yeah, he's in a wheelchair, but he also eats an apple a day to keep the doctor away. But I guess something snuck past that last apple because nurses kept coming in and out of Dad's room. And they kept poking him with needles and taking his temperature and changing these big bags of medicine and listening to his heart. I bet if they listened with their ears instead of their stethoscope, they'd hear it say, "I'm fine. Let me go home and stop scaring my family, especially Maggie, because she's my favorite." That's right. Maggie's my favorite, not Layla, like everyone thinks. But everything will be okay. Dad will get better. That's what tough guys do. But still, I have to admit, I'm worried. And it's that deep down in your guts worried that's impossible to get rid of no matter how many Mike and Ikes you eat. I guess I'm starting to realize that being brave isn't so black and white. It isn't something you either are or aren't. It isn't an absolute, because you can run out of bravery. Your metaphorical bravery tank can run dry. But it's up to you to fill it back up again, to muster all the courage you can, to pull up your bootstraps. And no one does this better than Dad. He doesn't even wear boots because he doesn't need boots, because his feet never touch the ground. I never knew I would need so much bravery until everything changed a full year before yesterday, a full year before Dad started beeping. It was my 11th birthday, and it started with another noise, just as annoying as the beep. It began with a buzz.